All right, everybody. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. Let's see who we got in here tonight. Linnell Seiler, welcome back to Celebrity Court. Tasia Davis, yes, finally made alive, kinda. All right, welcome back, Tasia. Protecting My Peace 44, welcome back. SL, thank you for joining us again. It's a Stone. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. Come on in here. Come on in. Tafia, welcome back. Val Rice, welcome back. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Come on in. Come on in. Everybody, come on. Lathea Robinson Smith, good evening. Good evening. Southbound 3000, welcome. Welcome. Kimberly W. Dove, welcome back. Welcome back. Come on in, everybody. We got a new show tonight. You guys got to make sure to let us know how you like it. It's going to move a little fast. It's going to be a little different, but it's still going to be informative. LaShonda Manuel, welcome back. Happy Thursday. Sheikah Fuller, hey, what's going on, Sheikah? Welcome. Sheikah, your picture looked like you might be a lawyer. Michelle Robinson, hey, Court Night, that's right. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. Welcome back to Celebrity Court. All right, everybody, tonight, Celebrity Court of Public Opinion is about power, payback, and publicity stunts. It's when fame gets frisked by the law. Now, tonight isn't about being guilt. It's not about guilt or innocent. It's about how power gets protected, how influence is weaponized, and how fame rewrites the rules. Well, at least until the law decides otherwise. From mic throwing mayhem to defamation diplomacy, these cases are not only messy, but they're scandalous, but it's going to be brutally educational for everybody watching. But make no mistakes, these aren't just celebrity headlines. These are legal headlines with real world lessons. Helping me with these cases tonight will be our legal beagles. First up, our civil attorney, Shatan Turner, our humorist at law, Sean Carter, and our civil attorney, Jason Weiss. Counselors, welcome back to Celebrity Court. Sean Carter, don't look so happy to be back in Celebrity Court.
I'm trying to move it along. Let's go.
Deliria Washington, welcome back. JP Mills, welcome. All right, everybody, be sure to hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, be sure to hit the share button and throw your verdicts in the chat. Give us all the comments that we need. And don't forget to turn on your notification, because tonight you're the jury and court is now in session. First up, we have Cardi B. Is this a microphone assault or is it self-defense, according to her? Now, this is a civil lawsuit for assault and battery. A fan got a mic to the face at a Vegas show, and Cardi B caught a case 2 years later. Now, the video went viral, but was it violence or reaction? Cardi says someone threw a drink. The plaintiff says she threw hands with the mic. All right, we're going to start with you, Attorney Weiss. Tell me right now, what does this mean? How is this a civil assault and battery? And what does that hinge on?
So can we show the collateral so that everybody can be on the same page as to what's going on? And then I'll go ahead and answer. So basically what you can see going on is that someone definitely threw a cup of ice or a drink, and she decided to throw her microphone back. So the question is, what is needed for civil assault and battery? Civil assault is the fear that you are going to be struck, and battery is you actually got struck. And it seems that in that instance, Cardi B committed battery because she threw a microphone at that fan out there. Now, was the fan the one that threw the cup and threw the ice? Don't know. So we don't know. So Cardi B should not have thrown that microphone because she might have been throwing it at the wrong person, and she may have committed battery when she thought she was just in self-defense. And I know there's more questions about self-defense and everything else, but I mean, she's She didn't use her brain. She thought in heat of the moment. Someone threw something at her, and what was her reaction? Strike back.
All right, Shatan, let's go to you real quick. If Cardi felt threatened, like I guess to me, it seems like she felt embarrassed that somebody threw something at her while she was performing. That's another story. But if Cardi can convince the judge that she felt threatened, is that enough for self-defense?
It might be. It might be. It depends on what she appreciated. The problem with the video here is I think she was surprised because it looked like she had money moves, right? And then the ice came and hit her and she instinctively threw the microphone. She didn't flex in anticipation of being hit, at least not from what I saw. I don't know if Attorney Carter saw something different. So I don't know that she was fearful as much as she was mad.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think she was more embarrassed and mad. And where is that energy tonight, Attorney Turner? We need that energy. Let's go to you, Attorney Carter. It's 2 years later. So tell me, why is this woman who got the mic thrown, we know she went to the hospital, we know she took pictures, we saw all of that, why is she now coming after Cardi B? Is this strategic timing or is this a cash grab? And is there a statute of limitations around this action?
Absolutely. So statute of limitations is 2 years. She's coming up on that date. She hasn't even the 15,000. Because by the way, Cardi B, I would sue you for more than that just for lip syncing. And when I pay good money to see you, all right, I'm suing you for about $3,800 at least. Or she only sued for 15 grand, a multimillionaire. Why? Because lawsuits under a certain amount in Nevada, I think the amount is 15,000. Then they go a little faster. You don't have to spend as much time in court. Your lawyer doesn't have to do as much. So she's going to say, hey, give me the quick 15 grand payout. And Cardi, by the way, you should reach in that top. You know you can't strip money on you and just hit it with the 15 grand because you wrong, girl.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, she can't use the self-defense because you're only allowed to use as much force as that was used upon you. And you have to have a fear. Throwing a cup of ice and taking a microphone and no, not the same. She's gonna lose.
Someone, can you guys
she didn't know what it was. That's why I'm saying it was instinctive. She didn't realize she threw the mic hard, and it was a mistake in terms of the amount of force. But she intended to use the same amount of force as the ice.
She should just pay the 15,000.
What does that mean? What does that mean, attorneys, when you say you can only use the amount of force that was used against you? What do you mean when you say that?
So if somebody was threatening you with a baseball bat and was 15 feet away from you, and you pulled out your AK-47 and decided to open up the entire round and put 100 bullets in that person, they're not equal. Someone 15 feet away with a baseball bat, I don't care if you have the longest arms in the planet, you're not going to hit the person. The most you could do is maybe throw a bat. It doesn't warrant the use of an AK-47. So it's got to be somewhere in there that's reasonable, having to do with the force.
So Attorney Carter, is he saying? Attorney Carter, is he saying? All right, Attorney Carter, is he saying that a person can't argue that they felt like their life was in jeopardy, and because
no,
kind of bad?
It'd be one thing, by the way, if people were coming. If you think about it, this is a one-time attack. They just threw the water. They weren't rushing the stage with a whole bucket of water saying you're going to drown her, right? It's like there was no danger to her anymore once the ice had been thrown at her, unless the person going to buy. And by the way, think about it. You know what it costs for a drink in Vegas, all right? Somebody threw $38 of ice on her. They ain't got no more money for any more ice. They were out of ammunition, all right? And so, you can't say that's a good way to think of ammunition, right? If you fire a gun at someone and you miss, they can't say, okay, your gun is now empty. I can now unload mine against you. Even though they shot first, you don't have a self-defense claim because they were no longer a threat to you. Whoever threw that,
when they missed.
Water, what?
When they miss, they're no
longer exactly. But here, whoever threw that cup of water, that they were out of ammunition. They don't have any more way to hurt her. She can't say, oh my God, I thought they were gonna, right? And so she just got mad and threw the mic. And like I said, the thing that gets me the most is, if you're a performer, if you were planning on performing, you don't throw the mic. Take your shoe off. All right? Take one of those BBL pads out and throw half your ass out there, but do not throw the thing you're supposed to be using. I came to see you for. That's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah. All right. I want to give a shout out to Jessica Brooks. Thank you for the super chat. Here's a little donation for Attorney Carter. trying to get those half slips and boots on the ground.
There we go.
All right. Okay. So let me ask you this. So for the lesson learned here, right? Public figures don't get fan immunity, right? Your reaction better match the threat, is what I'm hearing you saying.
Or back on them.
Or it becomes a liability and she have to cough up money.
The one thing that a couple of the people put in the algoriters put in the comments that I quickly checked was Cardi could be heard telling the audience to throw me some water up here, bitches, because I'm hot, and ask the crew for a bottle of water. And then somebody went ahead and threw the ice and the cup and water at her. So she asked for it.
She might as well she better get that checkbook ready.
She should just stroke a check for 15 grand, make it 20, and call it
go away. All right, really quickly, let's go to our algoriters. Algoriters, does fame justify a hot reaction, or should Cardi B be held accountable like the rest of us? Jump down in the chat and let us know, algoriters. Does fame justify a hot reaction, or should Cardi be held accountable? Should Cardi B be held accountable? Put yes in the chat if you think so. Put no if you think she doesn't. Speaking of accountability, Candace Owens is going against President Macron. And who knew that defamation goes international? This is a 22-count lawsuit filed in the state of Delaware. I can't wait to break down with the lawyers why it was so important to be filed in Delaware. But this is what we know. French President Emmanuel Macron sues U.S. firebrand Candace Owens for calling his wife a man. Yep, you heard me right. She called his wife a man. Delaware, and he wants it tried in Delaware court, 22 counts. He thinks it's no laughing matter. This isn't just a Twitter beef. It's now a global courtroom. Bailiff, take it away.
Born a man and you will die a man. That's the point I'm making. So give us a sample. I'll send my doctors to take your blood. Figure it out real quick, however you want to go about this. Hey, how about just giving us some pictures again of you growing up, raising your children? That would be fine. For whatever reason, to phone, by the way, like I said, we'll get to the bottom of it, right? That is what discovery is for. We're going to ask a lot of questions. You're probably hoping, this will go away, and at least we'll say we sued her. We'll say we went after her. She'll probably file for this to get dismissed. I'd like to make it to discovery. I think that we owe that to the world. Anyways, you guys, we are revolting against this. We're revolting against the perverts that run the world. And I want to be very clear here. I count you among them. I think you're sick. I think you're disgusting. And I am fully prepared to take on this battle on behalf of the entire world. Okay? That's what I'm going to say. On behalf of the entire world, I will see you in court.
All right, I'm going to throw to you, Attorney Turner, ma'am. If you're joining us tonight, come on back to us. Talk to me about the defamation with intent and why they're deciding to sue her in the state of Delaware. Why are they suing her in the state of Delaware, and why is that so important?
I'm not sure in terms of the first question about defamation with intent. Defamation always is an intentional act because it includes a falsehood that's publicized. So anybody who is accused of defamation, it's because they were aware that the information was false. They shared it anyway, and they suffered some sort of injury. So could you explain the first question?
No, I just want to know, she's being sued for defamation with intent. So I want to know what does that actually mean? But let's go to you, Attorney Carter, real quick.
Well, one thing about that before I leave is the interesting thing about the fact that this exists at all in this point in time. It's at the juxtaposition of like the trans rights movement, right? And so one of the things with defamation in terms of the damages aspect is it has to have harmed you in some way. And so the question is, I guess the Macrons are saying that calling his wife, who's female, a man, is damaging to them. But one could argue that nowadays, maybe not so much. Like, are they damaged because of that, given what's happening in the world at this time? I don't know. I mean, I know that, she might even have a slip. And so, that might be the biggest defense that she could have.
I don't know if I believe that. I got to go to you, Attorney Carter, because let me tell you, if that was my wife and I had this pundit with a big microphone calling my wife a man, that would be very hard for me to swallow. Like you're not going to be able to disrespect my wife. I'm the president of France. like what are your thoughts on this? And talk to me as you share your thoughts. If you know why filing in Delaware, what was the point of them filing in Delaware? Is there like a special reason for that?
Yeah, Delaware is strategic for two reasons. One, Delaware, as most of you know, is sort of the corporate capital of the world. There's a lot of international matters that come through there when people sue various corporations. They have one of the best, they're the first state. They have a very efficient court system. Also, it's not clogged up with a bunch of nonsense. Remember, this first time we talked about Delaware, right? So it's not like Cardi B is in there, et cetera. You can get your case in. And they had to file it somewhere. And the trick was to try to find a place that you can get your case through, but also not so conservative. So, for instance, Candace Owens lives in Tennessee. In Tennessee, a jury might have said, oh, hell yeah, right? You owe her money for being a man, right? And so they wanted to find a place that's, a little more politically, liberal, or at least middle of the road, so that they can actually have a decent jury to try this in front of. Now, Candace Owens, on the other hand, this case is more cut and dried than that bad wig that Candace wears. All right, let me tell you how ridiculous this case is. Defamation with a public figure, and no more public than the First Lady of France, you can only win that case if the person knew that they were lying on you, or damn sure should have known. And there's the thing is, they sent Candace the evidence, her biological evidence that shows that they said everything but a picture of a Tootsie Cat. Okay, to Candace Owens. Yes, they said everything to her and said, look, this is everything you need to know, girl. And she said, I don't care about your evidence, right? You know what I mean? I'm doing my own research. She has nothing but a psych. In her documentary, she got psychics and people, with Ouija boards talking about how, they know she's a man. And here's the kicker. Let's say they actually do the test. Matter of fact, Brigitte comes into court and pulls out a big long one. All right, is a man. Guess what? Candace is still going to be paying money.
Really?
Because, yes, she outed this woman. The disclosure of private facts. You can't just run around outing people with no reason. Now, if you had a reason, like you said, hey, she had been passing anti-trans legislation in France, or she had been doing this. She's, by the way, just somebody's wife. I can run around and say, you know what? I know so-and-so. Like, for instance, Renee sued me for telling y'all she wears slip. All right, because that was disclosure of private information. We in court right now. All right, but the point is, you can't run around and just tell people's business just because you feel like it, even if you're right. And by the way, she's not likely right, because here's the thing is, if she was right, then Brigitte would have never brought this lawsuit, right? Why you going? I didn't even know about the Candace Owens documentary until she brought the lawsuit. So I know that she got a Tootsie Cat.
Okay, Jason, let me ask you this. When does a blood test decide which chromosome you come from?
I have no clue.
Because she's out. It just seems very performative to me. It seems performative.
Go ahead, Attorney Turner.
What she's trying to do is what they were talking about in those track cases from a while ago, was that the person had too high of testosterone in their blood to be a biological woman. But that's not... it's not proven, but it's come up a lot when you have people competing in female sports, and their performance exceeds what anyone would expect. And so they're like, oh, you have to do a blood test beforehand because we want to test your testosterone. It's very controversial because cis women can have higher testosterone, and that doesn't necessarily make them men. And so, but that's what she's going for. She's looking for anything that would give a glimmer of hope that says that she's right. But Candace Owens also always takes the oppositional position for ratings.
Right, but let me ask you this.
If Macron was getting ready to go ahead and compete in a woman's only sport,
right, there you go.
Then sure, let her go ahead and get.
But wait a minute, counselors, let's all visit the fact that what if she's trans?
Who cares? Like,
no. From a legal standpoint, we care, right? Because what if she's trans? What if she's trans? She still identifies as a woman. She shows up as a woman. So how can you legally say to her that she's a man?
You
Well,
can't.
it depends on where you are, and France versus the U.S. Because recently in the U.S. there was a declaration that there's only two genders, right? There's an executive order that says there are two sexes, male and female, and so in this country, which might be why Candace is so bold with her assertions, because she subscribes to that particular politics, and so in her mind, there's black and white, right? There is no gray. Man, woman, there is no trans. So when she's saying that she believes that Macron is a man, she is including trans women in that description.
But she's not saying that I think Macron is a man, because that's her opinion and she would be allowed to voice an opinion. The problem is she is calling her out. She is doing all this. She is defaming her, and that's why a 22 count lawsuit. I hope she loses on all 27 counts of the lawsuit.
Now here's the thing about it. Go ahead,
Attorney Carter. No, that's what I was going to throw to you. What does a 22 count look like as far as damages? Like, what could they?
And that's going to be tough to say. The thing that's interesting about this, because I was doing a calculation earlier, and somewhere between, let's say, $500,000 and millions. It's definitely something. All right. Candace, it's the highest end of this. Candace doesn't have. All right, and the Macrons don't really need it. The thing I think that she thought she'd get away with is I can say anything I want about public figures. All right, right. Donald Trump only has one testicle. All right, no, I shouldn't say that because he'll sue, and that's what's happening weird here. Is that normally think about the things that people have said about First Lady Obama. All right, people have made all kinds of claims about her. Obamas have too much class to sue. Trump is the one who started saying, you know what, I'm president, I'm still going to sue. And Macron, I think, is kind of giving Owens a taste of that Trump medicine. Say, okay, you know what? Y'all gonna play like that? We're gonna start playing like that.
All right, let's go to
let's know that he's given oxygen to this, that the Macrons are giving oxygen to this. I mean, she does have a following, but now it's exploded. So from her perspective, this is all money to her. And so it'll help her pay for this settlement, I guess.
Right? All right, let's go to the algorithms. Algorithms, what do you think? Is this a political flex by the Macrons, or should pundits finally be held accountable for their conspiracy clickbait? Because it feels very clickbait to me. Should Candace Owens be held responsible? And what are your thoughts? Drop down in the chat. I wanted to read a comment over here where Toria Williams says millions that Toria Williams has met the president and his wife, and at a few parties, and he felt that the wife was very pretty in person and definitely didn't give off male energy. Just wanted to share that really quick. All right, let's keep it going. Dr. Salvador Plasencia, the doctor in Matthew Perry's death, pled guilty for illegally distributing ketamine. Now, Dr. Salvador pled guilty to illegally distributing ketamine, the same drug found in Matthew Perry's system. Now, there's no murder charge, but the optics can be viewed by some as devastating. I'm going to go to you, Attorney Weiss. What's so interesting to me is, okay, he was charged with illegally distributing ketamine. Right, but he wasn't charged for killing the man because the man took an overdose of ketamine. Is this performative? Is Hollywood just trying to find someone to blame for Matthew Perry's death? Because that's what this appears to be to me.
So let's take a step back. No M, right? But no homicide, meaning that this doctor had nothing to do with the death. There are different levels. No homicide. Okay. So that's number one. But federal law doesn't care who the patient is, right? No prescription, no drugs allowed. And this doctor gave him ketamine, which you must have a prescription for, without a prescription. So he broke federal law. I think he could spend up to, I want to say like 40 years in prison for this. He's not going to do anywhere near that amount. He did give him ketamine. He did not give him the fatal dose. So there is no homicide charges. He broke federal law, and that's it. He's gonna get punished for breaking federal law.
Okay, let's go to you, Attorney Turner. Tell me, does he lose his license, or what are some of the things we can expect for him? Is jail likely? Is his career over? What happens with this doctor because he gave a celebrity who he probably had a very strong relationship with ketamine?
That's a lot to unpack. I mean, first of all, the strength of the relationship doesn't govern. It's the lack of the prescription that got him into trouble. So in order to prescribe drugs under the Controlled Substances Act, you have to have a relationship with the person to whom you're prescribing. You have to keep a medical record. You have to examine them, and it has to be tied to some legitimate justification. So lesson for the algoriters, if you have friends who are doctors and you're like, oh, can you hook me up with medical marijuana, or could you hook me up with like any kind of thing to help you party, that is all a mistake, and that could all result in a series of consequences for them. There are no automatic consequences, but there are a series of steps that will be taken that will result in the kind of career-ending future that you described. So now that he's been convicted, the medical board will be notified that he had the conviction. They will launch an investigation. It will likely be quick, and they'll conclude that he violated it. At a minimum, he'll get suspended, but he may lose it entirely. The question is for them is going to be, they're not going to do it just based on the outcome. They're going to actually look at the scripts and to see how deviant he was from the standard, right? So the fact that he didn't have a script, that was enough to buy him the federal consequence. Before the medical board, the question is, was his activity or his action so egregious that he should not have the privilege of practicing medicine anymore? And so there's that separate process. He also could be exposed to civil liability actions by the family. I saw some interviews with Matthew Perry's family, and they were quite devastated. They're also very well connected, and they have resources, so they might want to pursue this for the principle of the thing, just to ensure that he, not him, but that it's a wake-up call, because, we've seen other celebrities in the same circumstance where physicians have overprescribed and it resulted in their death. And I think that Matthew Perry's family might be the type to say, you know what, no more.
Okay, what do you think? I want to get to Toria Williams. So, Toria, I thought I read your comment which says France president came to a few parties for the Obamas, and that is how I met him and his wife. We spoke several hours that we were there, but you also shared earlier that I have met both of them in person, and that lady is a beautiful person inside out. Candace is a loudmouth, but you're saying that I got your comments mixed up. Please let us know which comments I got mixed up.
She's saying you said she gave man energy, and she said she didn't say that.
Huh? No, I said I said that she thought that she was attractive. She was pretty in person. That's what I said. I didn't say man energy. All right, let's go to you, Attorney Carter. Tell me, what are your thoughts on this? With the doctor.
That Dr. Placencia's lawyers might be the greatest damn lawyers since OJ's dream team. This is amazing because we have to understand that this guy didn't just write a prescription and didn't fill out the forms or whatever. He was fleecing Perry. He wrote at one point, I wonder how much of this stuff this moron's going to take. All right. He and his boy were talking about how they were going to try to get money out of him. He got 60 grand out of him already. And they were just basically drug dealing. Now, interestingly enough, California could have charged him with homicide, but their case was going to be hard to prove because there's some states, by the way, if he did it in the right place too. By the way, if you're going to be a medical drug dealer, you go to California. You go to some state that doesn't have a law, because some states have a law that says, hey, if you gave them the drugs and they died, you're going to jail. Yep. All right. Like Jersey, Pennsylvania, a few other states like that. California doesn't have that. California's law is it says you still have to prove that those drugs you gave them killed them and that you were negligent in giving them the drugs. And the problem is Perry didn't just like ketamine. All right, so at the time they found him dead, he had everything in his system: some Anacin, Gistan, Robitussin, and he had everything. All right, and so it was hard to prove that that's the thing that actually killed him. It was going to be difficult to bring the state case, so they brought the federal case, and they'll give him, and I think Attorney Weiss and I agree, 3 to 5 years in club fed. I think Michael Jackson's doctor killer got 4 years. It's about the time you get. It's basically enough time to go back to school and get another degree so you can do something else other than practice medicine, because as Attorney Turner told us, you don't get to do that anymore.
He's not going to get to be able to practice medicine anymore?
Nah, he's done.
Oh, wow. Even if he moves to a different state?
Maybe if he comes to Florida, he can, but that's about it.
Oh, wow. All right, let's give a shout out to Toria Williams for the super chat. Toria, thank you so much for the super chat. Get those likes up. Toria's right, everybody. Be sure to hit that like button. The likes aren't liking. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you already subscribed, be sure to hit that share button. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And I'm loving how everyone's dropping down in the chat tonight. Thank you very much, Toria Williams, for the super chat. All right, so let's go to the algorithms. Algorithms, do you think that the doctor should be held responsible for giving him ketamine without a prescription, even though Matthew Perry is an addict and we know that he did not pass based on just the ketamine use? Drop down in the chat. Do you think that the doctor should have been charged even though Matthew Perry was an addict and it wasn't the ketamine that actually killed him? Drop down in the chat. All right, let's keep it going. Fourth case is an interesting case to me. Billionaire David Geffen has divorce drama now. He's a billionaire who married a boy toy and they didn't sign a prenup. So we have palimony, we have sex according to the boy toy, as well as drugs. And the boy toy said he was promised a luxurious lifestyle. David Geffen is getting dragged by his former lover in a scandal laced with sex for pay, drug use, and no prenup. There's no marriage certificate, though, we must all know, but there are receipts and regrets. All right, let's go to our resident divorce specialist over here, Tom Turner. Tell us, palimony means unmarried divorce? Tell me, what does he mean by palimony?
Palimony is he's seeking payment, right, for their relationship despite there being no actual marriage. That's what it is. It's the equivalent of alimony, but for alimony you're married. For palimony you're seeking payment based on the relationship. So he's saying there were promises made, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people are under the impression that the only time people get money for anything is when there's a written agreement, but that's not true. There's a lot of theories under the law where the compensation or the argument is based on promises that were relied upon. And so that's what this is. And actually, we could have also said this was sex, drugs, and rock and roll, because there was a lot of partying and Geffen was in the music industry. So this is actually the textbook of sex, drugs, and rock and roll. But yeah, in this case, it was actually kind of sad. They met on this dating site where people look for young tenderonis, I guess, and they want to experience them and consume them. And they hung out. He says he got what he wanted in every way that he wanted it. Mr. Geffen did. And the gentleman who's suing him got a drug habit. So he ended up having to go to rehab, and it's like a real sad story. And so now he's basically like, look, you used me. I was a hot young thing when you got with me. Now I have this drug problem, even though, I went to rehab and I'm done. And the promises you made was, you told me that, why else? I mean, I shouldn't say this, God forgive me. But what he's saying is, look at us. Why else would I have been with him unless he promised to hook me up? And now I would get paid. Attorney
Carter, what do you think about this case? So let me ask you this. Who divorced who, or who's leaving who?
Yeah, and we should be clear, because there was some confusion here. David Geffen and this man actually did get married, okay? In 2000 and what year is that? In 2003, and the marriage ended in May of this
But
year.
who ended it?
So, oh no, Geffen ended it. Geffen not only ended it, he threw him out while he was at Bezos' wedding. He had people evict this guy and say, "Get out my house! All right, you not have my house." The guy is saying, "Hey, but you agreed to me, and you said you would hook me up for life. You know, make sure I live right because he knew he was gonna die. All right, I can't believe he's still alive. All right, and here's what the problem is though, and the lawyers are gonna laugh here. He's got a my legs problem. This is a mnemonic used in law school that explains certain contracts have to be in writing. There are 6 classes of contract. I'm not going to go through all of them, but he ticks 3 of the boxes. All you have to do is tick one of them: marriage, contracts that are over a year, contracts that are more than $500. All need to be in writing to be enforceable, and he has none of them. Okay, if he had this agreement with him, it needs to be in writing. A prenup, postnup, in the mup, something up. Okay, he needed to have some agreement that said this is the case. So what now? But he's gonna get something because he was married for 2 years. Okay, he gets, but the problem is this though: it's not like David Geffen got rich in those 2 years. He was already rich when he got it, right? David Geffen probably has less money now because he's been spending it on splendidgranddaddy.com. All right, so it's not like, remember, he's more than sugar daddy. This is Splendid Granddaddy. All right, he's getting them young. Think about it. That boy is young enough to be his granddad baby. All right. If he was black, he'd be young enough to be his great grandbaby. All right. And still, he out here.
You're wrong for that.
It's true though. He's out here. All right. Dating somebody great grandbaby. All right. And no, he wrong. And he gonna get away with it because all this guy's gonna get is a couple of 6-8 months to get his life back together. And and to move on, and he's not going to get millions and billions of dollars. He thought he's not going to get that yacht.
Well, he's going to give him spousal support, and he's going to get that, and that's what it is.
How long does he get the spousal support, and how do they determine how much he gets? Because listen, if I'm messing with an $8 billion old shriveled up man like that, you better hope I get some money.
There's a formula, and it's going to be also a function of the duration of the marriage. But
yeah.
there is case law, though, Attorney Carter, that supports that oral prenups and oral postnups can be valid, and they determine that based on the course of dealings of the parties. Now, granted, they're much harder to prove than they are when they're in writing, but they're not disqualified simply because there's no writing. So,
all right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
I've done the research.
Let me ask you this though. If he's admitting that he became a drug addict, wouldn't that put into question his comprehension of what Geffen was promising him, maybe?
No, because he didn't become a drug addict until later on. When look, there's 2 things. There's promissory estoppel, which means that, hey, I'm going to make you a promise. I'm going to tell you something. And everybody went ahead, because if Geffen was saying, oh, don't worry, you're going to be set for life. And, oh, I'm going to take care of you for the rest of your life and all of that. And he starts throwing lavish things at him and doing all that. His husband had the idea that he was going to be taken care of. And his husband also can claim detrimental reliance, which means that I didn't go out and get a job. I didn't invest in the market. I didn't better myself because I relied upon the promise that I was always going to be taken care of by you. So Geffen has a problem, not an $8 billion problem, but probably, like, I would guess, an $8 to $25 million problem.
So let me ask you this: is that only because they were married? Because I'm just thinking about how men lie, women lie too, but men lie all the time. That men lie all the time to their wife about what they gonna do and how they gonna do it, and then they get caught cheating and they like, peace, I'm out.
I mean, that happens every single day, often in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. But but to Attorney Weiss's point, what this gentleman is saying is that he had a modeling career, he had other career aspirations, and he put them all on pause in order to make Geffen happy. And he is a handsome guy, so I think Attorney Weiss is right. Geffen's going to pay. How much is the question? But the best thing in terms of the lesson for the alligators, if you're trying to get someone's paper, who you're married with, the best thing you can do is to show, like he did, that he gave up this career. Now, if you didn't have a career, well, then that's a whole different problem. But if you actually can show, like, I had these opportunities that I did not pursue because this person said they were going to take care of me, then that's very helpful. But if he
I gotta jump in here because I gotta tell you, if I married an $8 billion person, the first year you're gonna buy me a house. My grandma need a house, my mama need a house, my brothers and sisters need a house. Like, I'm getting
your
something.
attorneys need houses.
Your attorneys need a house, a car. This kid is walking away with nothing. I mean, I was reading.
No, he's not walking away with nothing.
No, I'm saying he was put out with nothing. I was reading the article.
Yeah, he's probably nothing.
That he didn't have anywhere to go. He was homeless. What?
Yeah.
How does that
The good
happen?
thing is, I'm pretty sure, a lot of times you have a gap in your resume, it's a problem. He got like a 2-year gap, but by the way, before then, he was selling booty at 10,000 a pop. They'll let him back in that business. He can come on back. He did fine.
He definitely his stock probably just went up.
There you go, right? Yeah, that was Geffen. Yeah, he be all right.
With Geffen, now everybody wants to be with you. Everybody wants a piece of it. Oh,
They may have had it because Attorney Carter is right. I forget the name of the site. It was something that was super specific. Like, there was no question about what was being offered there. So the feds might be shutting it down because prostitution remains illegal. But yeah.
What's the equivalent of a slip for a man?
His jock strap is showing. So let me ask you this: what do you guys think about attorneys? This kind of like public shaming as his strategy to get Geffen to pay attention to him and help settle. Do you think that's working? Considering Geffen is supposed to be known for all his charitable work with, the homeless, with the underserved communities. Do you think this public shaming worked in this case?
No, he does. He's not on Instagram and checking out Facebook and all that stuff. He don't care. I mean, he don't care. He's gonna give this young man, I'm gonna guess, somewhere between $8 million and $25 million, and say, enjoy the rest of your life.
Well, listen, I'm gonna tell you, I'll take it. And by the looks of Sean Carter, he would do it for less.
I found the website, by the way.
And I think your wife will let you, Sean Carter.
SeekingArrangements.com.
What is it? What's it? Arrangements.com?
SeekingArrangements.com.
I thought you said ediblearrangements.com.
Is it still up? Is the site still up? I might need to go register.
I got to get on there. I'm trying to work it.
All right, let's go to the algorithms. Algorithms, should ex-partners be entitled to lifestyle payoffs, or is this clout chasing camouflage as a lawsuit? Drop down in the chat, algorithms. Should ex-partners be entitled to lifestyle payoffs, or is this clout chasing camouflage as lawsuit? Just for some reason, you know what this is giving me? This is giving me, I thought I was going to be in this situation for a little while, and Geffen is like, boy, it's time for you to go. I want the next thing. This is what it's giving to me. And that boy was caught off guard. He did not take care of his business in the 2 years that he had access to all of that fame and money. And now he's like, oh, crap, I guess I have to sue. That's what it's giving me. All right, let's keep it.
And Nicole Smith vibe. He thought he was going to die and that he was going to get it all. And now Geffen's alive and kicked him out. And he got some Viagra and some Geritol. And now he's strong and still wants some more. Yeah, that guy didn't think he was signing up for like a lifetime.
Just think about it. I'm gonna tell you right now, if a billionaire has access to all the medical research, all these medical tools, I mean, I wouldn't have assumed, unless he was like in a wheelchair like Anna Nicole Smith's husband, right. I would not assume that man was gonna die anytime soon.
But he was trying to kill him. They were partying, and it turned out that Geffen partied better than we could handle the drugs. And women and booze better than him, right?
Because Geffen
when
has
watching the Diddy trial, like, I invented the freak off.
Exactly.
I know that's right. All right, speaking of freak offs, Glorilla got arrested. She's got drug and felony, 2 felony drug charges in the state of Georgia. Glorilla, yeah, you heard me right. Glorilla was arrested in Georgia with over an ounce of weed and an unnamed controlled substance. Bond was $22,000. Charges were 2 felonies. Twitter is lit over this. Now, this is interesting to me. I'm going to throw to you, Attorney Carter. Explain to me, and let me get the question out because I think we might have. Do we have a video on this? I'm not sure. No, we don't have a video.
You got a video of her acting a fool in the past.
Oh, yeah, in the past. But before we go to that, let me get this question out, and then we'll throw it to the bailiff. Now, she claimed she was not in the house, right? She said her house was broken into. She was not there. The cops were called, and they went into the house. Is this what the Attorney Carter tell us? So cops went in the house, and when they found substances, that gave them probable cause to arrest her.
This is wild. Yeah, this is wild. She's not there, right? She at the NBA All-Star game with what they call the stud buds and doing something. All right, and turns out that family members are at her house. Somebody tried to break in. They are there. They hold them off and shoot and call the police. Say, hey, people are trying to break in the house. The police come to the house, find and detect a strong odor of marijuana, right? And they end up looking around, and this best part is Glorilla's not even there, and she gets charged with possession of the drugs.
How?
Okay?
It's her house.
It's her house.
So it doesn't matter if you said a cousin was staying in there, he was probably using the drugs. It doesn't matter that he
when you get pulled over and you're driving someone else's car and the stuff is in the car, think about that. It's her house. They went into her house. There it was. They arrested her.
Well, remember, she had to come back to get arrested.
Everybody has a cousin. Everybody has a friend. And some of y'all got men that use drugs. And you let them come up in your house and you don't know what they leave behind. Like, let this be a lesson to you. Don't be careful who you hang out with and what they bring in your house.
And let's be clear, it's not the rule that automatically, if it's in your house, you get charged with possession. If one of her family members has said, hey, that's my weed, and Glorilla had nothing to do with this, then you know what? It's your weed. But guess what? That means all of her family members are like, I don't know who weed this is. I don't know why who made us smoke it.
That was here when we got here.
To be what weed smokers do. It's right. Their weed when they're walking out the door with it in their pocket. But if the cops are looking for somebody, it ain't theirs.
It ain't this. So they all sat there and said, hey, my weed, which is wrong. Ain't that wrong?
And it must have been out in the open. It wasn't like it was in the old cigar box put underneath the bed and, behind the cabinet, or it was out. It was sitting there. The cops walked in and they're like, we can't not unsee this. Sorry.
So in Georgia, marijuana is illegal.
Yes.
Over a certain amount. I think it was a gram. Right. It was a gram or a pound.
She had enough of an intent to distribute. That wasn't
okay. Got it. All right. So let me ask the second question. If this substance that they are not sharing what it is, if it's a classified 1 or 2, which is what the rumors are, what does that mean? Does that mean that she could get prison time?
Technically, sure. She ain't getting prison time for that.
Yeah.
They're going to come up with some sort of diversion program, community service, and a hefty donation to the Boys and Girls Club or some other thing in the state of Georgia. Someone dropped in the comments, she'll pay her $1 million and go her way. I don't think it's going to be $1 million, but she'll be quite all right.
Yeah, it's probably
Shatan, you're our resident music lover and know all the songs. Glorilla, do you think this charge will help her brand or harm her brand?
Well, you saw that music show where she and Megan Thee Stallion were doing the coordinated twerks, right? And she's always exposed and she's always like, she's about that life in her songs. I think it'll be a plus. As long as she doesn't go to prison for a while, I think that she's going to make a song about it. and she's going to talk about how she was, I wish I could think of a good rap off the top of my head, and I can't, but like she was targeted and the man came at me, and now I'm out here clapping so that I can make some money. Yeah, that's what she gonna say.
When you go to the WNBA All-Star game, don't leave your house without your weed. And if you're going to leave without your weed, then you might as well hide it underneath the cocktail table. Don't get stung like me. Something like that. There you go.
It tells me she's got a curse.
She's plane, though. Like, yeah, algoriters don't take your weed on the plane. You mess around and get caught up in, aviation issues, too. So, yeah, what you need is a friend, right? Or leave it in your car, right? And have your car locked in the trunk or something.
No.
I really feel like that.
Just move.
The brother probably was in that house.
Or smoke it all before you go. That's probably the best.
Just move to New York or come to Florida and get a card, or just go where it's legal. It's going to be legal everywhere anyway.
I gotta tell you though, I'm really feeling, and I never do this. I'm feeling bad for Glorilla.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna tell you now, her family ain't shit. All right. You gonna sit there. First of all, if you're doing drugs, guess what? You don't get to call the police. You got to fight off the intruders yourself.
Right.
All right? You can't call the police out.
What's the point of having someone?
I agree.
What's the point of someone having someone stay at your house? Right? They're there to watch the dog and watch the house.
Exactly.
You're not watching the house. You're getting robbed. Get the hell out of my house.
And
then the right cousins, because the right cousins would have been doing drugs and had a gun, and it would have been all over for whoever came inside. They would have been standing their ground.
And when you get caught, when you get caught, then obviously, you take the rap. All right. Ain't nobody gonna miss you. You ain't had no job. All right. You ain't no going to go. All right.
So
she making the money.
When they called the cops, they didn't think, okay, let's hide the drugs.
No, they were too high.
And this thing is, the cops.
They probably thought they already hid the drugs.
Yeah,
man, more weed. Oh man, this is our lucky day.
And by the way, it's a good hint for you. Maybe if you did some edibles like an adult, you wouldn't have this problem. They can't smell your breath, all right, but they can smell that weed. But that's another story.
Right. All right, algoritms, drop down in the comments. Do you think Glorilla should be held responsible for what her brother did while she was away? Drop down in the comments. Do you think Glorilla should be held responsible for what her brother did while she was away? While you're at it, don't forget, please, the likes aren't liking. Be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, don't forget to hit the share button. Invite some people over to learn about the law on the back of these crazy celebrities. Turn on your notifications. As always, thank you for dropping down in the chat. This is the part where we come to our final verdicts of whether there's guilty or not guilty in the lessons in the law taught by Scandal. First up, is Cardi B guilty of not guilty? To me, I think you don't let impulse make you infamous. You can't throw mics and expect hugs from the law. I'm going to find Cardi B guilty. Guilty as charged. Attorney Carter, what say you?
She's guilty, and also the promoter who hired her to sit there and lip sync, they guilty too.
Attorney Turner?
Yeah, Cardi's wrong for that.
So guilty?
Guilty.
All right, Weiss?
Guilty, and as she waits longer, the 15 goes up to 20 and 25. Just pay.
Pay and make it go away. All right, I agree. Algorithms, drop down in the chat. What do you think? Guilty or not guilty? Is Cardi B guilty or not guilty? Next up, Candace Owens. Is it free speech or is free speech ain't free when you aim at world leaders? The court may charge you interest with receipts if you keep messing with the president of France. I'm the judge here in Celebrity Court, and I'm going to find Candace Owens guilty. Guilty as charged. Attorney Carter, what say you?
She is double guilty. She is guilty of, one, that bad wig, and two, more importantly, though, she's guilty of putting that person's business out in the street. All right, I don't care, Brigitte, it was born a man or woman. She's living as a woman now. Mind your business.
Attorney Turner?
She's guilty of being crass, derogatory, and unkind. This is the worst type of journalism.
Yeah, Attorney Weiss?
She's guilty, and she seems to be doubling, tripling, and quadrupling down, and she should shut up and move on.
I think it's because she's monetized and she's making all that money off of these videos, and she's gonna figure that maybe she can make enough money to cover what maybe the settlement looks like. But either way, she's just coming across to me as just like crass and disrespectful to a world leader that we actually like. All right, next up is Dr. Placencia. Guilty or not guilty? If you wear a white coat, act like it. The courtroom has no patience for doctors playing chemists. I'm going to find Dr. Placencia not guilty. Not guilty as charged. Attorney Carter, what say you?
I think he is guilty of hiring the best damn lawyers ever to keep him out of real jail, because he didn't get to go to Club Fed for a while. And matter of fact, if you got young kids at home, you want to go to Club Fed too. That's better than being with your kids. All right, 3-4 years, nice meals, you be all right. All right. Matter of fact, I'm selling ketamine now. Call me later so I can get that.
Attorney Turner, what say you?
Oh my goodness, it's always hard coming after Attorney Carter, but I would say, court of public opinion, he sold the drugs, Matt died, he's guilty.
But he didn't die from ketamine.
Doesn't matter. He's guilty of giving him the drugs against the law. He's not being charged with homicide. He will spend some time in Fed pen, and he needs to be punished for doing something that's not allowed. And he's not getting a homicide charge.
All right, let's go to the algorithms. Algorithms, do you find the doctor guilty or not guilty? Drop it down in the chat. Next up, we have David Geffen. Even billionaires bleed in court. If you loved without a prenup, prepare to pay for your peace. David Geffen, is he guilty or not guilty of putting that boy out on the street with no money? I'm Al, and I'm the judge, and we're going to find David Geffen guilty for taking advantage of that handsome black man, and we're going to find that handsome black man guilty for being stupid, for not dating a billionaire and not getting no money. Attorney Carter, what say you?
I'm finding Geffen guilty of not clicking on my profile on seekingarrangements.com, because I'm a lot cheaper than $10,000. I'm gonna tell you that now, David. So hook up your
you like call your brother. Attorney Carter. Christina R said the boy is guilty for having his package out. Oh, that's Jason's boo. All right, Attorney Turner.
Yeah, there you go.
Geffen is guilty of doing too much. I mean, go play with your grandkids. Stop seeking arrangements.
He was.
Bad joke.
He was playing with his
grandchildren. Now he's playing with someone else's grandchildren. That was the problem. So he's guilty of playing with other people's grandchildren. I mean, that's what it is.
A pedophile. That's 50 years different. All right, last but not least, Glorilla. Street cred won't save you in a courtroom. Georgia don't care how many TikToks you drop, because Fannie Willis, baby, will come for you. I'm Alan. I'm the judge here at Celebrity Court, and I'm going to find Glorilla not guilty because she wasn't there. Attorney Carter, what say you?
I really think it's the first time I'm ever saying not, and the only time I ever go say Glorilla is not guilty. She's guilty of a lot of stuff, all right? But she's guilty of being too nice, I guess. Letting her freeloading family stay there and then not take the blame. You're supposed to take, when you're the poor part of the family, why we keep you? That's your whole purpose of being in the family is to go to jail. All right, take the rap. You need to take the rap.
Are you saying, Attorney Carter, that the poor people in the family is supposed
That's their job. All right, you ain't got no other job. Take the rap.
Attorney Turner, what say you?
I hadn't heard about disposable family before, Attorney Carter. I'm gonna have to think about that. But no, I think Glorilla is guilty of trusting those freeloading family members and thinking they were going to do anything but take from her.
Attorney Weiss?
She's guilty of trusting her family, and she's guilty of having a family that's not looking out for her. So, I mean, look, I hope she goes in there and says, it wasn't mine, it was cousin per se's, and let her stay.
Christine R said, let her cook. Are y'all really going to hold her responsible for what her brother did? Oh, my. All right, everybody. Let's go to the algorithm. Algorithm is Is Glorilla guilty or not guilty? She wasn't even there. Drop down in the chat, everybody. Is Glorilla guilty or not guilty? All right. Here, law doesn't play favorites even when fame tries to. These stories aren't just headlines. They're a masterclass in what happens when money meets misconduct. And tonight's verdict, as you see, power may delay punishment, but it doesn't delete it. All right, so drop your verdicts in the chat. Was Cardi defending herself or assaulting a fan? Should Candace be silenced or protected? Did the doctor get off easy or should he be charged? Should Geffen's ex cash in or back off? And is Glorilla a victim of harsh laws or a felon in full flex? Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, celebrity protects images, but not innocence. Court is now adjourned until the next scandal subpoenas our attention. Everybody have a good night.